What is going on, everybody? It is Frank the Tank, and for today's video I'm going to be talking to you guys about the footwork in the two-handed approach. Check this out. So as you can see, the footwork is something different from what you would normally see. Most people would walk basically in a straight line from dots or wherever you like to line up all the way up to the foul line. In this case, I don't do that. You could clearly see that I walk to the left. Some people call it drifting to the left. I don't see why they call it that. I mean, I'm walking, I'm not drifting or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I walk to the left, and then in the end, I end up kind of turning my body and end up sliding right, basically like facing my target. Now, I've gotten questions on this sort of thing over the years, like, why did you do it? What led you to do it? Who told you to do it? What does doing that help you with? And I could honestly never really come up with an answer for all of that because I didn't know. I was the type of guy that I would research stuff, I would look at videos, and then I would try to do it. And I would never even try to find out why this person did that or why this person did this and why. I just saw like, okay, so they do this, so I'm gonna do that. Plain and simple. I guess the best way I could come up with an answer for why I do it is with basically the origin story, like where it all started for me and why I started doing it. So here it is. Back in January 2019, when I first took on the two-handed approach, I actually didn't walk to the left like I do today. I actually started by walking in a straight line from the dots to the foul line. And in doing so, my shot was basically all over the place. I was very, very inconsistent as a result. And I wasn't aware of that at the time, as I was only a beginner, so I really didn't know about all the mistakes I was making and all the things that needed improvement. Over time, things got better, little by little. But one thing that never changed was the footwork. And again, I was just a beginner. I wasn't fully aware of the bigger things that needed to be changed. Up until about several months later when I was out practicing, somebody had approached me and they told me flat out, the approach looked good, but I noticed something about your footwork and how it's leading to inconsistency. Like my shot was all over the place. So that was when that person ended up telling me about that walk to the left. And they told me that this is something that Jason Belmonte does. And as a result, it helped him line up at the foul line a lot better. And it helped him have more control over that shot so that he could be more consistent. That, among other things. Now, after I was given this information, I was a bit skeptical. So I went home that day and then I started looking up videos of Jason Belmonte. And lo and behold, there was that drift to the left. So then I thought, oh, wow, the guy was right. So I told myself that the next time I go back to practice, I'm going to try out this drift to the left. And in the end, well, what you see today, that is what ended up playing out as the result. Now, I have gotten questions over this over the years, like how do you know how far to the left you're supposed to go and things like that. And I couldn't come up with answers for that because, well, I just did it. Someone told me, hey, you should do this. So I tried it. I never really thought about how much drift to the left I should have, how much distance I should have in my steps, things like that. It just, I guess, incorporated itself into my approach. So really there was no answer for any of that. I just did it. And that's what ended up happening as a result. Okay, so if you're thinking of trying this out yourself, but you don't really know where to start, what to do, or how to do it, then I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. And in the end, it's up to you what you want to do. You could try and copy it, or and there's no strike against you if you do that. And also, if you want, you could just take some bits and pieces from it, just to get an idea, and then you could try to form something on your own with it. So what you're gonna see is how I do it, and I'm also gonna show you a little bit of how Jason Belmonte does it. Okay, so what you are seeing right now, or what you're about to see, is how Jason Belmonte used to set up at the start. So he did this for a very, very long time. However, I can't pinpoint exactly when he started doing this, but what I can tell you is how long he did it on the PBA Tour. So he started doing this from his debut in like 2009 all the way up until 2016. So this is what he used to do. He had his right foot about halfway down from his left, and he would have his left pointing off, like facing to the right. And then this is what he would do right before he would start moving. He would lift that left leg a little like that, and then he would have it in the end facing off left, and he would end up walking to the left. Then somewhere in 2016, he decided to change all that. And from 2006, like somewhere in the middle of 2016, like in the later half of the PBA Tour, like the second half, he decided that he wasn't gonna bend his knees anymore like he used to do. And he was just gonna stand up straight, and he would start doing this now. So instead of having that right foot halfway down, he would have it basically like this, both feet together, but then he would take that left one and kind of angle it out to the left to set himself up to start walking to the left. So from from the middle of 2016 all the way up to this very day, this is what he does now. So he doesn't bend the knees anymore, and he doesn't have the ball off to the side like he does. He kind of has it like right here in the middle, and yeah, he stands up straight and kind of has both feet together, and then he takes the left one, angles it off to the left, and there you have that. Okay, now what you're about to see is how I do it. Now, what I did was I took a little bit of what he used to do with what he does now. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So take a look. What I do is I line up on the board that I'm going to line up on. In this case, it would be 25. 25 right on top of it. Just like that. And then I would take, there's the little bit of what he used to do right here. I would have my right foot about halfway down from the left. And then I'd turn my left and angle it out to the left, just like he does currently today. So one of the questions that I got a lot over the years was, how do I know how much to the left I need to walk? And I could never come up with an answer for that because I just didn't know. This was something that I never really thought about. I just did it. Someone told me about it and I just did it. I'm never thinking about how much I was walking to the left or anything like that. And I feel like now with this, I feel like I can answer that question. So by setting up like this, and this is gonna sound a little strange, but just bear with me. By having my right foot halfway down from my left like that, and it has the back part, like my heel almost, I guess. It has, with it kind of like, I don't wanna say it's digging, it's touching the middle part of my right foot, like right there, right? I'm able to feel how much I am turning that left foot, how much angle I'm putting into it. So yeah, in the end, it's kind of a feel thing. And if you try this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about with this. It's a feel thing. So by doing this, I'm able to feel how much I am turning that left foot, and I'm able to basically replicate that the next time. So yeah, that's basically the best way I can answer how much to the left I am going, like by doing this. So by having the back part of my left foot going into the middle part of my right, I'm able to feel how much I'm turning that. So I know how much I've put into it. So I know that sounds weird. I'm sorry, I'm not good at explaining this stuff, but that is how I do it. That's how much to the left I am going. I'm able to tell because I know how much I put into it by having that back part going into my right like that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I am going to walk you through all 5 steps in that approach. And yes, this is a 5-step approach, not a 4, it's a 5. So set up like I told you, with the right foot halfway down from the left, angle the left one to face out, to the left to set myself up to walk. And then once I feel like I'm ready, I start walking. And I do want to point this out. I feel like However, the amount of distance you put in between each step is crucial. It does matter. And for me personally, like I said, I do what Jason Belmonte does. I line up on the second set of dots. Now, if you like to set up further back, then you're probably going to have to put a lot more distance in between the steps. If you, even if whether you're taller or shorter, it doesn't matter, because remember, the distance is always the same. Like for example, if you're way taller than me, I'm only like 5'7". I think Jason Belmonte is like 5'9". Despite the fact that he is obviously taller than me, we both line up on the second set of dots, and we both still have to put the same amount of distance in the steps, because remember, the distance from the dots to the foul line is the same, no matter where you go. But if you feel like you need to line up further back, you're gonna have to, I guess, do some calculations to figure out how much distance in each step you're gonna have to put, because like I said, every step is crucial. All right, so that first step is the left foot. It starts off in that direction, like I told you. That's why, like I said, angling that left foot to start off in that direction of which I'm going. And that, I would say, is about maybe like, I don't know, 1.5 feet apart. So from that, where my right foot is planted, taking that first step, that's about 1.5 feet. Then the second one, now, if you'll notice, it actually ends up turning to face right. And I have to do that because I remember when I first started doing the drift to the left, I actually didn't do that. That foot just ended up going in the same direction that left one is actually facing off. And that led to some problems, but I'm not going to talk about those problems because we're only focusing on the footwork here. But doing that meant that it would all right, this has to do with what the upper body is doing. And one of the big things is, remember, when you slide, you end up facing right, and then vice versa if you're a lefty. So when that is happening, I'm actually turning my body with that foot that is that second step right there that's actually facing this way now. So but again, I'm trying not to focus too much on other stuff like what the upper body. I just want to focus on the footwork. We'll get to what the upper body is doing in another video. But anyway, yeah, that's what ends up happening there. And I actually learned this from Jason Belmonte. He actually does this too. That second step ends up, when he takes it, it ends up going that way. And again, that I want to say is about, I don't know, a little bit maybe a foot apart, maybe just a little bit less. I know it's definitely not a lot of distance compared to what I did with that first step. And then pay attention to that left foot again. The third step continues going off in that direction. It doesn't change. In fact, I want you to pay attention to just that left foot. Okay, watch that left foot. So it goes from there to there, and continues going that way. So it stays on that line. It doesn't I don't step here and then end up going further out. Where that left foot was pointing is where it stays, if you know what I'm saying. And then of course comes the ever so iconic thing that everybody knows, the hop step. Pay attention to what this does. It continues going off in that direction. Now, I don't put that hop step, or the fourth step, whatever you want to call it, I don't put it directly in front of the left foot. The reason for this is because, I guess you could say, I kind of developed I unlocked a fear. Because this did happen to me several times in the past, where I would put that right foot directly in front of the left, and I would end up tripping and falling. I would just get tangled in my own feet, and then I would end up falling. So what I did was, I have that right foot going off in the direction that left is going, but I don't put it directly in front. Watch carefully. See, it doesn't go directly in front of the path of where that left foot is going. It goes kind of just next to it. In order to, I do that in order to prevent, getting tangled and falling over, because that is just something that I fear to this very day. So after taking that hop step, the left foot ends up kind of doing this thing where it comes around, and then I end up sliding and facing to the right at my target. And there you go. That's how you do that walk to the left. One thing I forgot to mention was the distance between the steps again. So again, that first step is about 1.5 feet. The second going to the third is a little bit less than 1.5 feet. I would say maybe that's just about 1 foot apart. And then going into, I want to say that's the third step right there. It does kind of slide a bit and then ends up about, I would say that's about 2 feet apart. The hop step is pretty close together. I don't know, that's a little less than, I'd say that's 1/2 foot probably. Or maybe just a little bit less than 1 foot. I honestly can't even tell. I'm not good at doing these calculations. But then, there, like I said, every step, the distance you put in every single step is crucial because in the end, you need to allow yourself that room to be able to slide. Because as two-handers, we have to be kind of aggressive with that slide. And that's also the reason why I go with this heel that you see right here. This, I don't know what it is in 3G shoes, but that's the one that provides you the most, like, braking, I guess. But with Dexter shoes, on every single bowling shoe that I have, because I usually use Dexter shoes, I have the H1 heel, and that's the one that provides the most braking because as a two-hander, we kind of like all our speed, all our power is generated in our legs, and we have to get aggressive with that slide. So as a result, we kind of have to like come to a stop quicker. You know, I learned that through my own experience that having like that set up at the bottom with the I don't even know what that's called, the heel and the sliding pad thing underneath. If you have something with the setup that makes you feel like you're on ice skates, that's going to be difficult for you at the foul line. And I actually, again, this is another thing I picked up from Belmo, is that he likes to use the standard, like when he was using Dexter shoes, he uses the standard 7 or S7 pad that usually is already on the shoe when you buy it, and then he switched the standard heel that they put on the shoe automatically, and he switched it to an H1 that provides the most braking. So on the 3G shoes, I don't know what this stuff is called, but I managed to like figure it out myself. So yeah, that's another thing that I forgot to mention is what the setup at the bottom of the shoe is. But yeah, it's crucial that you provide yourself with enough room to do that slide, because remember, when you slide, you have to have that massive amount of distance to the point where like you're, you know, like if you were splitting, not completely splitting, but take a look at this. So yeah, it's crucial that you provide yourself with enough room to be able to do that slide and to be able to finish properly at the foul line. Like so. So that's how I do it. That's how I set up at the dots. That's where I set up as well. And that's how every step is, the distance, all that stuff. So if you're thinking of trying this out and putting it into your approach, if you wanted to know how to do it, well, there you go. That's how I do it. That's how Jason Belmonte does it. I know from how I do it, it's not a carbon copy. I know there's some differences, but I learned everything I could about that drift to the left from him, because I truly believe that he is the only, well, he's probably not the only one that does it. I know there are other people out there that do it, but none do it like he does, that's for sure. He's the one that does, like, really drifts to the left and then comes back to the right. And I know there are a lot of bowlers who somehow are able to remain consistent without having to do that. Like Kyle Troop doesn't do it, he walks pretty straight. Chris Vi walks pretty straight. I'm not sure that, I know Simonson kind of goes to the left a little bit, but he doesn't make it extremely obvious. Chris Sloan, I don't believe he does it that much. So it's pretty insane that they're able to, you know, have control over the shot without having to do that. Because for me personally, from my own experience, walking in a straight line from the dots to the foul line, I was never able to have any control over my shot. I was very inconsistent. And then having incorporated this into my approach, it made everything in terms of consistency a lot better. And it also helped me finish at the foul line and have better balance at the foul line as well. It didn't fix it completely, it just contributed to it. So there you guys have it. That is the drift to the left, or the walk to the left, whatever you want to call it. that's how I do it. That's how I set up. That's everything. So try it out if you want. You don't have to. If you feel like you're more comfortable walking in a straight line, that's fine. But if you feel like you're having trouble, especially with like consistency and finishing properly at the foul line, try this out. Maybe it'll help you. It won't be a complete fix to everything, but this will definitely contribute to making your game a little bit better. And remember, little by little, you got to fix things. When you fix one thing, another thing gets exposed, and you end up having to fix that. So that's the good thing that can come from this. So yeah, that's my. It's not necessarily a two-handed bowling tip, but it's more of a how I did this, what ended up happening, and whatnot. So anyway, yeah, I'm Frank the Tank. That was the walk to the left. I will see you guys next time.